What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic Book Nerd Podcast, where we talk everything movies, television news. I am your host, Grant Sullivan. Obviously, it's been a huge week in movies and television news. That is what we're going to get into today, starting off with one of the first topics of our podcast. This is the first episode of the podcast, so I am super excited for this. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the news that happened over the week. We're going to recap every single news, and let's just hop right into it with our first podcast episode. Can't wait to get this started. First piece of news, obviously, let's talk about the Mario movie. So, we all know that the Mario movie has been smashing records at the box office, and it has finally passed $500 million this week and becomes the biggest video game movie of all time in the box office. Also passes Quantumania in its very first week at the box office, and it passes Spider-Verse for the biggest opening weekend of an animated film. Obviously, the Mario movie was pretty good. In my opinion, I would say that it's very, very good. I think that it was very good. The plot could have used some work in that, but other than that, I think that the Mario movie was great. And the voice acting was pretty good too. I think Chris Pratt could have done a little bit better, but who am I to judge? Let's go on to our next topic, which is Air Jordan. Now, if you don't know what this movie is about, it is about Michael Jordan. Obviously, this is a nerd. This is for like comic book people. So a lot of people probably don't know what this movie's about, but it's about Michael Jordan and his shoe brand. I'm going to see this movie in 2 weeks. I've just been super busy. I'm going to see it in 2 weeks though. Air Jordan scores $20 million in its opening weekend at the box office. Not bad for a Ben Affleck film. It got very, very good reviews. A lot of people enjoyed this movie, and I am expecting more from this movie as the week progresses as well. But let's move on to one of our other topics and other movie news. We're going to go through and talk about DC next, and then our primetime one will probably be Marvel or something like that. Our next one is that Billy Magnussen has been cast in the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch. Now, this news did come at us earlier this week, so I'm super excited about that remake. But obviously, that's that, and I'm super excited for Lilo and Stitch. Not really anything else to talk about there, except we have the cast for Lilo and Stitch's live-action remake on Disney Plus as well. Moving on to another topic. This is a major, major one that hit the last couple of days. I believe Discussing Film reported this earlier. Go follow them on Twitter as well. Sega is going to buy Rovo Entertainment for about $1 billion. Now, if you don't know who Sega is, they own the Angry Birds and stuff like that. I believe Rovio is like their movie partner, so maybe they're going to make an Angry Birds movie or something like that. I'm not too sure on what's happening there. But we do know that Sega is going to buy this entertainment film studio for about $1 billion. So it will give them enough to make $1 billion, or maybe make an Angry Birds film as well. And we'll go on to the last topic, which is a little bit negative. Lightyear has lost Disney an estimated $106 million. This was just announced by Disney at their investors meeting, I'm pretty sure. But Lightyear, has announced, or Disney has pretty much come out and said that Lightyear has lost a lot of money. I believe it's part of the LGBTQ stuff that they made in Lightyear. Obviously, Disney is working with that as well. But I'm expecting more news to come out about this film as well. I watched this film. I personally didn't mind it. It wasn't too bad of a film. But regardless, that is what the other movie that's what's happening around the world without DC and Marvel. We're going to go ahead and talk about some DC content next. And first things first, everybody, Warner Bros. And Discovery have officially announced their new streaming service called Max. It's going to be combined with Discovery Plus and Warner Bros. I think they announced the pricing earlier. I want to say it's like $14 a month with ads or something. It's crazy expensive though. DC is about to pop off. I'm telling you right now, they've got some really, really good shows coming up as well. this was a great move for Disney, or for DC and Warner Bros. In my opinion. I think that this streaming service will do a lot better than Max did. But regardless, they announced their new streaming service. We got the official logo too, and I cannot wait. I'm definitely going to be getting this streaming service. I did not have HBO Max because I knew that they were going to come out with a new version here in the next few years. I predicted that as well. But regardless, Warner Bros. And Discovery have officially combined like they said they would, and they are announcing their new streaming service, which is called Max. So there you go. That is some piece of news right there. Another piece of news is that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been delayed to 2024, February 2nd of 2024. This is because they are taking the online mode away from the game, I think, or they're taking something that is going with the online mode game away. Otherwise, it would be completely good to come out in time, but regardless, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the video game, has been delayed. Obviously, James Gunn and Peter Safran are working with them to get it announced, or to get it past that release date, but Suicide Squad has been delayed. The game has been delayed. I don't know about the second movie, but the game has officially been delayed. Moving on, we got some updates on the Creature Commandos cast. We're going to talk about the Creature Commandos cast right here. Frank Grillo is playing Rick Flag Sr. Obviously, this is animated, I think, so they're going to obviously be voicing these characters. Marina Beloka as Iman Rachov, obviously. There have been a lot. We're not going to go down everything. We will do some highlights, though. David Harbour is playing Eric Frankenstein, and Sean Gunn as G.I. Robot. Obviously, Sean Gunn is related to James Gunn, but that probably had nothing to do with it, I want to say. David Harbour as Eric Frankenstein, I thought was a great casting as well. They're stealing all the Marvel actors, people. I'm telling you, DC about to pop off. But that is pretty much it for all of the DC news that hit this weekend. We're going to talk some Marvel news right now with the first announcement, or actually that's not all the DC news. We have two more DC topics as well. One being that The Flash is going to screen on April 25th at CinemaCon. This obviously implying that James Gunn really, really likes his film. He said this in his announcement breakdown of Gods and Monsters Chapter 1. James Gunn approves of this film. He praises this film. A lot of people have been praising this film as well. I believe one of the actors, Tom Cruise, also really, really loved this film as well. And we also have a new trailer for The Flash that has been confirmed to drop on April 25th, which is going to be incredible. I cannot wait for The Flash. I'm going to see this movie in theaters. I know this has had a lot of controversy regarding the Ezra Miller stuff, but obviously I'm going to see this film. The Flash is going to be a great reset to the DCU. Obviously, after James Gunn announced this, it is resetting the DCU, and the DCU is starting off with Blue Beetle, which I cannot wait for as well. By the way, we're like 2 weeks away from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is James Gunn's last Marvel project. And now we're going to talk some Marvel news. And one of the topics of this week is that Mia Goth has officially joined the cast of Blade. Her work is incredible. I cannot wait to see who she is going to play in Blade. And we also got a rumored start date for filming. It has been rumored that Blade is going to start filming in June of this year. Obviously, with the production delays, they obviously, I don't think, have found a new director. But regardless, I expect Blade is going to start filming in June. Hopefully, I expect them to start filming in June. This film has been delayed for so many years. They are trying to get this reboot right. Would not be surprised if they delayed this start date either. But they are trying to get Blade right in the MCU. And I hope they can do that with Mahershala Ali as Blade as well. That is going to be a heck of a movie. And I can't wait for this movie as well. Maybe they'll announce some of the other cast members as well. Moving on, though, we have some Deadpool 3 casting news as well. Morona Bracken and Stephen Kopekic are returning as Vanessa and Colossus for Deadpool 3. If you don't know who Vanessa is Deadpool's girlfriend / lover in the first and second films as well. And Colossus is a mutant, so I'm expecting big things out of this right now. Colossus is a mutant, obviously. We do know Deadpool 3 is going to be a universe-jumping film. The TVA is rumored to be appearing in this film as well. I think that this film is going to be very, very good for the MCU. It's going to show us how Deadpool is going to get into the MCU. Deadpool 3 comes out on February 3rd, I believe, of 2024 or somewhere around there. But regardless, this film looks very, very good. The fans got what they wanted, and Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine in Deadpool 3. It's going to be a multiverse jumping film, so they will go back and forth between universes, and hopefully one of the storylines is that Deadpool is going to kill the Fox X-Men universe, and that is how they are going to get into the MCU. Potentially, that's how they could come into the MCU. Obviously, we do know there is going to be some major implications here with Secret Wars and stuff like that. So, Deadpool 3 has a huge multiverse implication on the MCU as well. We do know that too. Regardless, though, those two are back for Deadpool 3. This cast is going to be insane, and I cannot wait for Deadpool 3 as it hits theaters in February of 2024. It's going to be amazing, guys. You guys should go watch this movie too. Hopefully, we get some more announcements soon on this film from Marvel themselves. Let's go ahead and move on to some more topics. New Loki Season 2 trailer coming soon is what Grace Randolph hinted at toward us a couple weeks ago. I think this is old news for some of y'all. But regardless, a Loki Season 2 trailer is coming soon. I hear that it is finally done, Grace Randolph states. So, hopefully, Loki Season 2 will be coming soon. And Jonathan Majors will be appearing in it as well. Obviously, with all the legal troubles Jonathan Majors is going through, it looks like Jonathan is going to be innocent. So, hopefully that he will be innocent and he can continue to play Kang the Conqueror in this film as well. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll play Kang the Conqueror in the MCU going forward, which is looking very, very strongly. Court, I think, is sometime in May for Jonathan Majors, but I think he will win his lawsuit, and obviously he'll continue to play Kang in the MCU. So, there you have it right there. New Loki Season 2 trailer. I'm super excited for Loki. Maybe it will drop with the release around Secret Invasion time, so we have something to break down and stuff like that. But regardless, that's something to look forward to in the next coming weeks, is a Loki Season 2 trailer, yeah. Moving on is some Secret Invasion finale news. Now, this has been reported by Marvel Update, so take this as you will, potentially with a grain of salt. Daisy Johnson is set to appear in the finale of Secret Invasion. Now, I don't know who she could be playing in this finale of Secret Invasion, but regardless, she is rumored to appear in the show at some point, I want to say too. So, potentially, she could appear in the finale or episode 5. Obviously, it's not really going to be a major crossover. It's going to be something titled, or it's not a major crossover on Disney+. But I expect her to hopefully appear in this movie as well. We also have 2 more. We'll start with the Spider-Verse news later. But first, we have some rumors for Randall Park to appear as Jimmy Woo in Agatha Coven of Chaos. Obviously, he was in WandaVision, so it makes sense that he would appear in Coven of Chaos as well. I'm kind of skeptical about this as well too, but regardless, Marvel has a lot on their plate to decide what they want to keep and what they don't want to keep as well. Moving on to the final topic in Marvel news, we'll talk about the 3 Star Wars films that were announced last week at Star Wars Celebration 2. Andrew Garfield, rumored to appear in a live-action scene in Across the Spider-Verse. I think everybody knows this is going to happen. In the international trailer, they used his as well. But it states that Andrew Garfield is the only Spider-Man to appear in a live-action scene in Across the Spider-Verse. Maybe in a post-credit scene, maybe Miles is going to meet Andrew Garfield, and then they will go to the MCU. Who knows what this could mean for implications of the MCU, but regardless, Andrew Garfield is really the only Spider-Man to be appearing in. It looks like he will be the only Spider-Man to be appearing in live action in Across the Spider-Verse. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. Who knows about this one as well? But regardless, Andrew, this is going to be a great multiverse film, even if the three of them don't show up. So, obviously, 2099 is a great villain. We got the spot in this movie as well. The PS4 Spider-Man is coming to us as well. And we also have a couple other Spider-Man. So, be on the lookout for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse hits theaters June 2nd, 2023. It's going to be a heck of a film. You guys should all go watch it. But moving on to the last three topics, we got three Star Wars news, three Star Wars movies, and we'll talk about those too. Obviously, Star Wars topics are controversial nowadays, but but there are some new movies as well. We've got James Mangold directing a Jedi. It's going to tell us the origin story of the Jedi. This is going to be about 25,000 years into the past. The creation of the Jedi. James Mangold set to direct this film. And we have another film about Rey starting up the New Republic again. And it's going to be about Rey rebuilding this after the Rise of Skywalker as well. We also have one more Star Wars film too, I believe. So, a lot of projects coming from Star Wars, Marvel, and DC. Obviously, we had the Creatures Commandos cast announced, too. Those were just some of the major headlines that I saw for this week's episode of the Comic Book Nerds podcast. Let me know what you guys are most excited for on the podcast. And do you want us to expand the podcast, too? I may pay for a subscription or something. So, let us know about it. Hopefully, somewhere on Twitter or something like that, we will get the podcast out, and that is going to be all. Thank you all so much for listening to this podcast, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.